guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thrillers, monster movies, and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week. I'm Sydney Thompson.
I'm Monica Height.
And I'm Chelsea Duff.
And this week, we are getting a little groovy with it, clearly.
It's a giggly girl day.
It's a giggly girl day.
We're just
bubbly.
feeling a little goofy.
We're in a silly, goofy mood. You know, throwing it back to 1976 with the original Carrie, not one of the multiple remakes, the OG. And if you haven't seen the original, maybe you've seen the Chloe Grace Moretz one, maybe you've seen the May woman,
Angela Bettis.
Yes,
Thank you, because
I
I
was like,
get nervous to say her name. I don't know why. It doesn't.
I didn't even remember it, so huzzah.
Oh, we got there.
Maybe you saw that TV movie, but this is the original one, and the original one is Carrie White, a shy, friendless teenage girl who is sheltered by her domineering religious mother, unleashes her telekinetic powers after being humiliated by her classmates at her senior prom. And
They
honestly,
really give a lot away.
Yeah.
that is the entire plot.
That's
The
the
entire
whole
plot.
movie.
The whole
Well, I
movie.
mean, I feel like everybody knew what this movie was going to be going into it. Like, how is this marketed? Does anyone know? Because, like,
It was marketed by giving away the whole thing, apparently. I mean,
Yeah,
apparently the
that's
ending
what
was
the
like
poster
in the
is.
trailer. Yeah, it's in the coming soon stuff. But IMDb trivia says people were just like so intrigued still that they were like, let's give it a shot. They went and see it. I mean, obviously it was like a fucking hit. So
Well,
I mean,
sometimes
it works.
spoilers are good, I guess.
one of the weird things that I actually do like know off the top of my head was this was Stephen King's first like film adaptation of one
And
of
his
his
first
novels.
novel that he sold.
Yeah, and it was his
Oh.
first like book to movie, and so like we have Stephen King today because Carrie, like as we know, Stephen King is all thanks to this movie.
And he
Wow.
like was not even necessarily going to pitch horror books at first. He wasn't like set on being a horror writer, but because like Rosemary's Baby and other horror movies were like doing so well at the time, he was like, well, let me fire off this book to this publisher. We'll just see. And then it exploded, the whole thing. So very cool.
And then he went on that 10-year-long Coke binge where he wrote Cujo and he doesn't remember it. Not
Classic.
immediately after that, just at some point. We love Stephen King. I'll get to this later on, but this is such a Stephen King book, movie, whatever. We'll get to
loves a
that
shower
at the
scene.
ending, but yeah.
The
mean-
shower scene.
Okay,
Loves
yeah.
to be in the shower.
But just set up for this whole movie in general. Like, I think it's fine, honestly, that they marketed it with the spoiler of the ending. Because otherwise I don't know how else you market this, without being like it being too like just a coming of age story, coming of age with telekinetic powers. Wow, but as a person who knew the whole ending of this before I started as well, because it's been out for over 40 years, that I still enjoyed it so much. Also, there's a classic Monica point of contention going on with this film between me and Alex. Remember I said at the end of the last episode that I'd never seen this movie? My best friend will swear on her life that we had a slumber party in high school and me and Hannah and Aline and Alex all watched this movie at my house.
Oh, that's so interesting. Because I said at the end of the movie that I had seen it. Turns out I don't think that was right.
No, I watched it. I was like, I remembered the like very, very little like thing at the very end. I remembered that, but I think I'd seen it on the internet before. And I knew I had seen the beginning before with the shower scene. But like, I don't fucking think I've seen this. Like, nothing came back to me. I've never seen John Travolta with that hair in my life.
That's
Alex
memorable.
hates horror movies. So
No, she said she remembers it vividly because we forced her to watch it and she was traumatized.
And
So-
she is the friend, she of the receipts. You know what I mean? So like
I
of all
know.
people to have a memory, it would be her.
Seriously, like just for context, spookies, whenever I need to remember anything about my life, I don't consult myself as one might. I consult Alex. I say, Alex, what was my 8th grade school schedule? And she's like, A block, you had English, and B block, you had this. Like, she remembers literally everything about my life. I've known her since 1st grade. She knows stuff about from before then too, because she just remembers me telling her. Like,
she of the receipts. One time, like over Thanksgiving, I was looking for a picture to show my friend I was having dim sum with, and I couldn't find it. I texted Alex within 2 minutes. She was like, "Here you go."
I
Had
did
it
the exact same
immediately,
thing.
knew exactly how to locate it.
Do you have that photo of me from 4th grade? Here it is.
Mm-hmm.
She's not
Yeah.
creepy. She's just a historian by
Did
trade.
Aline weigh in?
I haven't brought it up to Aline yet. So Aline, are you listening? You're not. You don't like horror movies.
She's literally not.
She's literally not. I'll text her and I'll let y'all know. But anyway, I mean, apparently maybe my first watch, like, this movie fucking slaps. It stands the test
Yeah.
of time. It's spooky. I felt emotions, and yeah, and Sissy Spacek is so beautiful
Mhm.
in such a perfectly alien way. Like, she's just alien looking enough that it's just like she was born for this role. Like, incredible.
Yeah, she looks like a little angel, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I thought I had watched this movie. I have like vivid memories of watching it on TV and what the
It was
scenes
actually
look
the
like.
Angela Bettis
It
one.
was. I think that it was. I think that's what I've seen. Because I was like, I've for
so
sure
funny.
seen Carrie. It seemed old. And I watched it on TV. I think it was just the 2002 version.
They just said it in the 70s.
Because the way I remembered the shower stalls looked way different. That was my first tip off. Literally the start of the movie. I was like, this is not how I recall. And then as it progressed, I was just like, I don't even know who's bad here and who's good here. So I definitely think maybe I just did a different version.
Yeah, we all learned a lot about how we've never seen this movie before.
Or have seen this movie before. A surprise for everybody.
I've only seen the originals. I haven't seen the TV one. I haven't seen the 2013 one. So this is and even I hadn't seen this one in a while. And so I was just like, my literal reaction, like I screamed it out loud, was like, John Travolta's in this? Like
Yes, didn't you text?
I immediately
did,
texted
and
y'all, and I was just like, what
I'm
the
mad
like,
that you texted, because that was a spoiler that I would have been
It's a jump
excited to
scare.
be surprised by. Okay, how dare you spoil the twist ending that John Travolta is in
here.
this movie.
Well, this was apparently his first film ever. Like,
there's a lot of contention about this apparently, because he was filming another movie that comes out the year before when he auditioned, and allegedly, per IMDb trivia, he showed up like in his costume from that movie because he came over to audition on his lunch break. And there was like one other movie that he was in, but it was small. But they like marketed this movie by being like, John Travolta, introducing John Travolta, or John Travolta's first major role or whatever, which like it's not particularly a major role, and also it's definitely not his first role. So there's a lot of misinformation out there, you guys. You gotta look for the facts, but they're also impossible to find. So what are you gonna do?
okay, but John Travolta's first debut movie.
It's his first debut movie. Can you believe? Straight line from this movie to Grease.
Right? Incredible.
When did Grease come out? I don't know.
78 maybe?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
something like that.
It was my favorite in the second grade. It was Grease and Josie and the Pussycats.
I also went through a Grease phase the summer that we lived in Boston, and we didn't have cable, so I only watched PBS and Grease. That's it. That is all that I watched.
Hey, that covers all your bases. What else do you need? PBS slapped back in the day, okay?
Like I knew every line. I knew all of the dance routines. I constantly sang all of the songs. Just me 8 years old singing about pussy wagons. Like, it was a great time.
It's
for
a real
my
pussy
parents.
wagon. What I mean, come on, it speaks for itself.
You have to do it. You have to say it. Okay,
have
I
to
mean,
do it.
we'll get more into John Travolta, but let's pivot to the very beginning of this movie because it just like we start at 0 and then we go to 2 billion in 1 second. Like honestly, the first time that I thought I had watched this movie, I tried to start watching it like a year ago with Adam. Turned it on. I was like, let's watch Carrie, a classic. Ha ha ha. I was 5 minutes in.
Ha ha ha.
I was like, this does not pass the vibe check. And we turned it off. I was like, I can't do this right now. At this time, I am not willing to see this occur. And it turned me off completely. And I turned it off. Had a better time this time. But it is a lot if you're not in that space, if you're not prepared for immediate full frontal nudity and then like
horror. Okay.
Well,
I was wondering what the
full frontal
space was.
well, it's just horrible what happens. Like it's just
Yeah.
so uncomfortable. Basically, I mean, we all have seen this, but she just won. Everyone hates Carrie. That's very plain right away. And is it just because she's weird? I guess so. That's all
She's
you need in
weird.
the 70s. She's weird. She is weird. We got weird girls back to back. May and then Carrie. But does she deserve to be pelted with pads? No. But should she have rubbed her period blood all over everyone? No.
We are skipping. I want to have a conversation about the 70s bush that
Oh.
we are just
We have
seeing,
to.
because here's the thing. I'm so envious of all of these luscious 70s bushes. And I'm just like, mine will never look like that because I started waxing way too young and I'm
Get
The
devastated.
societal beauty standard
Take
sabotaged your
biotin.
bush.
Take
I
biotin for your bush.
can't. Biotin makes me break out.
Damn it. Put
I know.
get
Somebody-
that oil, castor oil, and put it on your
just
bush.
all over my bush.
Yeah. I put it on my eyebrows. I think maybe it did one thing. It would do the same for your bush. Try it.
Blood
I
extra
have
blue.
it for my eyelashes, so therefore I'm gonna just start like oiling my bush.
Just
and
drip it
castor
down
oil.
there. See what
Give it a
happens.
try.
It'll be a little
Report
science
back.
experience.
I'm gonna try.
I
I'll
hope it
keep-
doesn't burn.
I will let everybody on the podcast know how my bush growth
Yeah.
is
I'm
going.
very
We'll
excited.
circle back in like a month or two.
We'll
and
do
you
another
just give us a bush
70s
update.
movie and I'll give it a bush update.
Wait, flash forward 1 month from now, our next partnership is with castor oil. Hi, I'm Sydney for Spooky Tuesday. And before I started using castor oil, my bush was pathetic. But
My
now
bush was bare.
my bush was bare. But now it puts those girls in Carrie to shame. I can't wait for that for you.
For oil, sponsor us.
Does that make it grow or does that make it glisten? Like
I
I don't
think it
know. their
makes
deal.
it
This isn't an
glisten.
ad for them. Don't give them ad space.
Yeah, but that's just a little teaser of the great ad we could do.
If they
Just so
wanted
you
to
know.
give us an ad and
Big
money
Daddy
with that
castor
ad,
oil.
perhaps for
Become-
the anniversary of the Blood Spattered Bride episode, which was also an episode about bush representation.
Bush
Oh,
representation is
great
important.
bush in that one too. We'll do another 70s bush movie and I'll fill everybody in. I'm now invested in my own bush journey and so should you.
I'm
I know we all are. Yeah, we're all here
Everybody
along for
should
the ride.
be. But also, these girls are supposed to be in like high school, you know? And
they're
it's just like
so nude.
so
people are just
I'm just like,
naked in high
okay.
school all the time in the locker room. I've seen
Are
that. I've seen that one time and I was a prude and I was like, why are you running around naked? And then that person hated me for the rest of high school.
Well,
here's the thing. My high school,
what are you
like
gonna do?
nobody was naked. Everybody would like wait for stalls and all that kind of stuff. And was just like, okay, this is what we're doing. But then, you know, you grow up and you go to Korean spas and then you're just, you know what, bush out all the
Mhm.
time with your homies.
Yeah.
Important. I was gonna say we didn't have PE. I didn't take PE at our school, at least. I just did cheerleader as an athlete. So I never had an experience of showering at school around other people. Like, have you guys done that?
I have done it in my life now, but not in high school
Mhm.
for ballet. I never used the showers ever. I'm not like a big shower. we've been over this, so I wouldn't have done that
Sure.
anyway. I'll
Big
wait till
Shower
I
would
go
never
home.
sponsor this podcast.
Big Shower would never sponsor this.
And we wouldn't want that sponsorship.
I did take that sponsorship.
I did in middle school. We had
Ooh, even
In middle
worse.
school. Oh
Horrible,
my
much
god,
Yeah.
so vulnerable.
like middle school. I remember like we would like shower, but high school we didn't. It was like so weird.
Yeah, here's the thing. Stephen King really does love a shower scene. I'm just remembering now the one from It where the weird thing comes out of the
Mhm.
drain and all of that.
And it's
I
got
mean-
its hands around the hole like this coming out. So scary.
yeah,
Gross.
no.
Ugh.
We don't need to be doing the communal showers in a high school setting. I think we just save it for Wii Spa. Nothing's gone. There's been no horror movie at a Wii Spa yet, at a Korean spa yet. Has there been? Oh God.
Don't speak it into existence. We're keeping a safe space.
Also,
Anyway.
Why is Carrie taking the most sensual shower I've
Luxurious
ever-
shampoo ad.
like?
She's naive and she
rubbing
hasn't been
herself.
she hasn't been taught by the world to be ashamed of her body when she's in the shower. That's not true. Her mom definitely has taught her to be ashamed of
Yeah.
her
For
body.
her body.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
No,
But
they
maybe
just want her
that's
to
the
be
only place
sexy.
she's allowed to like touch herself because it's under the like the guise of cleaning herself, you know what I mean? So she's like, I'm just soaping up. I'm just doing a lather. I mean, it does kind of look like she is masturbating a little bit when she takes her hand away and there's blood on it. You know what I mean? Like it kind of seems like she her hands in the arena for sure. Obviously, that's how.
I mean, you
it gets
gotta
blood on
clean
it
your
in the first
vagina,
place.
Chelsea.
You
gotta
do?
clean your vagina.
You for sure do. And maybe some people have a first period that is powerful enough that you
There's
would
the
have that effect
floodgates.
even just being in the arena.
She's got a heavy
Um,
flow, Chelsea, and a
and
wide set
perhaps-
vagina.
Yeah, we don't know the setting of her vagina. We just don't know.
What my comments, because I was talking out loud to myself during this entire movie. I was
Of
just
course,
like,
as one
should.
must.
I was like, that's a real heavy flow. Like for
Day one, first
for
period out
day
the
one,
gate?
first period, like that's a real like that's some day two period shit right there. Like
The floodgates burst forth. Here's the thing. It's already traumatizing enough to get your first period.
I was thrilled.
Uh,
I was
Mine,
thrilled.
I was so upset. I'm going to tell you right now because this is topical.
where were you
I
when
got
you
my-
got your first period?
I think I was in junior high. I was at school. I noticed it. And then I got in the car to go home with my mom at the end of the day. And I was like, hey, Mom, I have something to tell you. And she's like, what? And I was like, think I started my period today. She's like, what? And she swerves to the side of the road, puts the car in park, and starts hysterically crying. Trauma. I was like, I killed Mom.
Another side.
So similar actually reaction that Carrie gets from her mom. My mom was not a terrible scary witch, but she was very upset that her little girl was growing up, I guess.
Oh well,
Sure.
I was in 6th grade math class,
Mhm.
and it was my last
Math
class
class.
of the day. And
Mhm.
it was like the end of 6th grade, and I like go home and I just like put my underwear like in the washing, like the laundry. And my mom had apparently found it, but never came up to like talk to me about it at all. And so later I'd like locked myself in my room, like freaked out. And so later that day, Mark gets home and he knocks on my door and he's like, I heard my little girl's a woman. And then he takes me to Kroger and is trying to like buy me like pads and tampons, but he's like, I don't know. So he's just asking strangers in the Kroger to help him
Helen,
buy
we need you to
things.
step in.
And then like the next day, because like they let me stay home from school, you know, they're like, you don't have to go back to school for the rest of the week, you can like do this.
Wow.
My
Oh
mom,
my God, Carrie style, stay home for the rest of the week,
but like
baby.
my mom slides that like American Girl book that every mother
The care and keeping of you. Yeah.
like she just slid it under the door and that was it.
Helen.
Is the care and keeping of you
Helen.
the American? Yes, it is.
Yeah, like every
Helen.
millennial woman has that
I'm
book.
so glad to hear that everyone has a traumatic experience here. Chelsea, what's your traumatic period experience if you would like to share?
Look, I've had many a traumatic period experience, but the first one was great and I loved it because it was the little like and I presented my underwear to my mommy and I said,
Mommy.
"Is this it?" And she is like, "I guess." And I was like, "Wow." And then I came to school the next day, also in 6th grade, and I was like, "Guess who's a woman now?" to like all of my friends. And
Wow, this is so you. I love this.
and
The
I
most
kept like
Chelsea
looking
thing.
I kept looking for other girls in the grade who like had their period to commiserate with, but like I couldn't find anybody else who'd have their period. Even girls who had like were way taller, had developed way more than I had, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I guess I'm just like the first."
I'm just the
I guess
best.
I'm just like way more mature than all you other little bitches. But
Sorry,
I
mommy,
was
I can't go
yeah.
back to school tomorrow.
Sorry.
I don't want to play with children. I'm an
I'm a
adult.
woman
I guess
now,
I'm ready
okay?
for high school now. Maybe I should just skip a few grades. But no, I was just really dramatic out the gate, and they became like real periods round 2. But round 1, I was just like, "You guys, cramps hurt so bad," and I was
Like,
really just like
really
living it up.
cool. That's feminine pain is so amazing.
It's just like, wow, you guys, you'll understand when it's your turn one day, I guess. Probably
Maybe
a long
when
time
you're
from now.
older, sweetie. Incredible. Poor
Loved it.
Carrie. If only Carrie had met you, she would have had
Mhm.
a better time. But like, I mean, even if I'm bleeding a large amount, recently I fell
Mhm.
down and I sliced my whole arm open and I was bleeding quite a bit, and I was like, oh no, you know. I wasn't
Mhm.
like, Susie, Tammy, Jessica, there's blood. Let me rub it all over you. Like, that is
Sure,
such
sure.
an insane reaction.
Here's the thing though. I think that what's her face, Mrs. Collins, the gym teacher, she absolutely nailed it on the head in the conversation with the principal where she was like, "I don't think Carrie even knew that periods existed
she
until
didn't.
10 minutes ago." Like she for sure thought she was dying.
She didn't. She thought she was
Which
hemorrhaging.
yeah, and I do relate to that because even in my adult life, one day I got like a heat rash on part of my upper torso, and I didn't know what it was, and I immediately was just like, I guess it's skin cancer, and I should say my goodbyes. But Brian De Palma, the director, apparently he told Sissy Spacek to play that scene as though she'd been hit by a truck. Like that should be like her level of reaction.
Nailed
and
it.
What's funny, yeah, 100%. What's funny is that she actually was like, "Oh, let me ask my husband James Fisk, who is also working on this movie, who has been hit by a car, what it's like to be hit by a car."
Wow.
So he just like talked her through what that experience is like, I guess. And also he was like right behind. I mean, I read this on IMDb trivia, so this could be true, or this could be a lie. I mean, but apparently he was like right beside her in the shower sequence, like right off to the side, out of sight, and he was like holding whatever fake blood that she like dipped her hand into to have the blood in that shot. So he was like right there being like, "This is what it feels like to get hit by a truck," and holding blood in his hands
That's
for her.
perfect to have that support during such an important scene. Well, okay,
Crucial.
that brings like, if I saw someone, one of my classmates, like freaking out like that, I don't think that my reaction would be to immediately turn into an evil gremlin and start pelting her with objects and laughing, you know. I would be really freaked out if someone like grabbed me like that nude in the bathroom, you know. So like, what the fuck is wrong with these gals? They're mean as fuck.
She did just cause one side to lose a volleyball game in
That's
PE,
true. It's
so
actually
they
dreadful.
had it in for her already.
Oh my god. Also, okay, there's a theme throughout this movie besides menses, and it is slapping people in the face
Yeah.
at all times under any level of provocation. Cuz like, at first I couldn't tell if I liked the coach. What's her name?
Miss
Coach
Collins.
Mrs. Collins. Because she just like immediately slaps Carrie in the face, and at first I couldn't tell if what her reaction was, if she was like mad at Carrie or if she was like being helpful. But then she ended up being very, very helpful. But like she slaps her right across the face right away. And she slaps freaking bitch ass Sue in the not Sue, excuse me, I'm so sorry. What's her name?
Norma?
Norma.
No,
not
no.
Norma.
Chris.
They all have gender ambiguous names. Not Norma. Norma is my grandmother's name. That is a rather feminine grandmotherly name.
Grandma, you're a lady and we all know it by your name. Yeah.
But yeah, she just freaking slaps Chris in the face, deserved. But also, like, do we slap children all the time?
Slap children?
I guess
In the 70s, yes, you do. Because
although Chris literally says, we don't slap children. I'm gonna get you fired. And then she just doesn't. Because I guess maybe to your point, Sydney, that you were gonna say, maybe it is okay.
Here's the thing. My parents were both in high school, like in the 70s, and they literally talk about how like they used to get like hit in school.
I don't like that.
Like,
I don't like that.
Like they had like in high school, you would be paddled. I mean, like fraternity
oh my
style.
God,
like,
I don't like that.
Like they were allowed to. I mean, here's the thing too. Mark, my favorite 70s high school story is you see all these like teachers smoking in like in the school. Freshman year of high school, my dad took a permission slip home to my grandma so she could sign it so Mark could smoke at school.
Oh my God, terrifying.
Wow.
He was 15.
Mommy said it's okay.
He was like 14 or 15. Mommy said it was fine.
Wow. It was a different time. Everyone was so much cooler back then. Damn.
But
getting slapped, smoking cigs.
Okay,
out of the bush.
Wearing
the
dolphin
PE
shorts,
uniforms? Are you kidding me?
Shorts.
They look good.
They all look
really
so good.
They all look good on those uniforms.
Okay, also so all the girls got detention for a week, and it was
of
just
course,
like
as they fucking should.
PE based, like PE for 50 minutes of exercise like after class, and I would be like, this is great, I'm gonna be even skinnier for prom, like free workout, like okay, woohoo, like I'm gonna look so teeny tiny because they're all already so teeny tiny.
Gonna have that perky ass for prom. That's what you want.
Exactly.
They're so pissed, but I'm like, bitch, you just like pelted a freaked out girl in the shower for like 10 minutes while screaming expletives at her. Of course you're gonna get a fucking week of detention. What do you think this is?
It's just like what you were saying, Monty. Like, it's so wild because it would be not an appropriate reaction, but an unsurprising reaction if they were mad about Carrie coming at them, bloody hands outstretched, wiping on their clothes and stuff. But they're not. They're literally so unbothered by that.
Yeah.
And instead they just like, go straight to mocking territory. They literally do not care and do not even reflect on that for a second. They just go straight to throw pads and tampons and chanting "Plug It Up." Although I do feel in my heart that "Plug It Up" would be a really empowering chant under other circumstances, possibly. And I would like to try it one day.
I would love to do that chant with you at any time. You let me know. You start it, I will join you.
I'm on my period right now. You could
plug it too. Plug it up. Plug it up. Plug it up. Plug it up.
Feels really good. Wow. Okay.
Yes, I loved it. It felt right.
BRB. I'm gonna go plug it up. No, I'm kidding.
Here's the thing too. My period came 2 weeks late, so it was like we're gonna wait for this exact movie to show up.
That you were waiting for Carrie.
Honestly,
that is
my
so
period
cute
is
that you're wearing
so...
your in-themed costume.
To my uterus.
Today, Sydney's in costume.
I'm in theme.
Love that. Love that.
But okay, just want to touch on this really quickly. The principal gets everything that he deserves in this film. Sucks dick. pick? Like, how hard is it to remember the name Carrie when you're just
She
told?
literally just told it to you.
Cassie,
Literally.
Cassie.
Oh
Shut the
my
fuck
God.
up. Oh my God. Also, okay, we're jumping around, but we only got through like 5 minutes of the movie so far. But like,
We
imagine.
had to tell our period story, so it was so important.
Very important.
Imagine for a moment that you do something horrible to someone because you hate them for no reason, just because they're different, and then you get properly punished for that, but you think you're better than that, and so you storm out, and then you get slapped in the face. This is a lot. This is a lot to take in. But like, imagine your reaction instead of just like going to detention for the rest of the week and still being prom queen, because you would have been prom queen. You're like, no, I'm going to throw prom in the trash can and I'm going to smother this little meek bitch in pig's blood to teach her a lesson. Like, how do you go from 1 to 1 billion trillion on the scale of cruelty so quickly? Like, that's the fastest villain origin story I've ever seen. She went from like bitch to Joker status in like 5 seconds.
Well, here's the thing. First, you've got to give your boyfriend a blowjob.
That's the first step.
That's the first step.
After he slapped you 3 times.
Right. But here's the
Your
thing too.
boyfriend John Travolta.
If she was doing it right, she wouldn't have been able to have talked like she was. I'm just saying.
She was
Chris.
talking the entire time. There was no way the blowjob was occurring. She was
Nope.
like,
She's just
What
doing
was-
some kisses on it.
She was just using it as a microphone.
she was like, Billy, like full perfect pronunciation. I'm like, there's
Billy, Billy, hello.
I love it.
Billy, I hate Carrie White.
Dude, no, I think John Travolta's like, I love it when she talks to my penis and tells my penis my own name. That's so hot to me.
Here's the thing. Sometimes if
Yeah,
you are
baby, talk
ever,
to it.
if you're ever lucky to get a BJ by me, sometimes I will use it as a microphone for funsies.
It's important to do a little bit. It's important to have
Is this thing on?
Sometimes you gotta
regular
try.
bits.
Sometimes you gotta try up a new stand-up comedy routine. I've never done
Sexist
stand-up
comedy.
comedy, but
You gotta see what their attitude is, because if they're not down for a funny little bit, then it's like maybe we shouldn't even do this blowjob at all. Okay,
this is as
maybe
far
we
as
should just
I want to go.
Maybe we should both just walk away here.
One of us is bound to like fart or queef during this experience. If we can't laugh that off, we're both going to be mortified. So we need to get the giggles out right now. We're going to start giggling at the beginning and keep giggling the whole time.
It's actually good for the sexual experience to use the dick like a microphone.
Is this thing on?
That's how you have to start a blowjob. I'm sorry. You gotta grip it and then gently tap it a little bit and say, "Hello, is this thing on? I'm here for one night and one night only."
I just want to be clear really quickly that this episode's not for babies.
Look, we did the episode for babies. You got your baby episode.
Just play
That
that
one
one
was
on
for you.
repeat, and
This
that's
one's
it.
for us.
This one is for menstruating individuals and anyone
is
who
for
wants to
middle
know
school
about
girls.
blowjobs.
Yeah, who want to be prepared.
Anybody-
in 5 to 10 short years.
Anybody that
They can
menstruates,
wait a while.
anybody who believes that a period doesn't stop nothing but a sentence, this episode is for you.
Lego. Okay, but let's
Anyway,
one other thing I wanted to bring up about Chris is that she looks exactly like Sydney Sweeney to me. Like, they look identical to me. Like, I'm like, is Nancy Allen Sydney Sweeney's aunt or something like that? Like, just something about their face. And Sydney Sweeney just got the sweepy bangs.
Curtain bangs?
Curtain bangs, thank you. I don't know, something about their face, something about like their lips. I don't know. The principal says Cassie, so maybe that got me in the mindset because of Euphoria. I don't know, but there's something there. Someone put their pictures side by side. I will do it after this episode, and I'll post it on the internet for you.
someone do
but
it.
there.
It's me. I'm
Somebody will do
someone.
it. I'm the someone.
Also, a
But-
fun little through is
Mhm.
Norma in this movie is
yeah.
Gay.
PJ.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, she's
Yes.
of course is PJ Solis. Is that how you pronounce her last name? I think I don't know.
just said souls, but I
Souls or
truly
souls,
have
yeah.
no idea.
But that's Linda in Halloween.
Yes.
Incredible.
I think we talked about that on the Halloween episode, maybe actually, or did I just have it in my mind because I knew that we were doing Carrie, but maybe I didn't want to spoil it.
That was weeks ago. Who knows? Not me.
I have no
We
idea.
certainly will never have the answers for that.
I have no clue. But the thing is, I never would have recognized her because her bangs plus eyebrows in this film are just so distracting.
I did recognize her. Actually, I think we did talk about it because I think what we said was that she got cast in Halloween, which came out 2 years after Carrie, because John Carpenter liked her as the mean best friend in this movie. Which is so funny because apparently she is not usually like that character is not usually that big of a role. That's not like Chris's bestie in the books and in most of the other versions. But what I was gonna say is that in the opening volleyball scene, after they lose, PJ Souls like took her red gay rainbow, 3 different rainbow gay hat, and she like hit Sissy Spacek in the head with it as they're like walking to the gym locker rooms. And Brian De Palma, the director, liked that moment so much that he just kept giving her more to do as Norma. And that's why the role became like the way that it is and the size that it was.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, she's like arguably the second most evil person in this entire thing because she just like is so down. Like, how dare they give us a gay character? She's gay. She's wearing the hat. She doesn't take the hat off.
Look,
She's wearing
rainbows
overalls
clearly
the
are
whole
a
time.
70s decal. She's got the hat on top of the hair thing at the salon when she's getting her perm done. She literally cannot be far away. She wears it at the prom. Her gay
prom.
3 rainbow. Look,
hilarious.
We love
gay.
We
she's
love
gay, but she's a villain.
Diversity of representation.
She's a
Gays
gay
can be
villain.
too.
I know, but they do that a lot, and this started the gay villain trope. This movie started. It didn't. But
it didn't. But it's fun to lie.
It did do that. Yeah. But yeah, like they have such fucked up reactions. Chris and Norma are like, "I will become Satan, and ruin this bitch's life." Meanwhile, what's her name? Jess. I had the IMDb,
Sue?
but I lost it. Sue. Who's Jess? No, there's no Jess.
one.
Sue.
No one.
Sue, I was so convinced that Sue was also in on it. Are we supposed to know that she's nice? Or
No,
did you're supposed to not know?
I think you're supposed to question the motives of both like Sue and Tommy. So that way, like when it is revealed that like they actually were both trying to do like a nice thing, it's more devastating.
Okay. I wasn't sure if I was just being daft as hell or if like if it was intentional for that to be ambiguous. Cuz I was like, this fucking bitch Sue, how fucked up is this? And then Tommy was like kissing Carrie at prom, and I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, like I said, I'd seen the other versions.
Nice, I guess. I don't know why he needed to kiss, but maybe he did kind of like her a little bit or something.
I think he actually really liked her.
I think the situation just progressed.
Yeah. And he was just like, oh, she's so sweet. Because she's so sweet.
When I was watching like the prom scene and like him getting ready for prom, him trying to like ask her out, I was like, Tommy's such a sweet boy. And then it got closer and closer, and I was just like, is Tommy a good boy? Like Tommy better not break my heart. And then Tommy broke my heart for a different reason than what I was expecting. But I was just like,
Tommy got that big bump.
Tommy.
I was so suspicious, and I was so like mad watching the whole prom scene because I was like, he's being so sweet to her, and I was just distracted by like hating him because I was like, why are you kissing her? Why are you doing all this shit just to make it sting more? What the fuck is wrong with you? And then when it was revealed, I was like, oh my God. So then I just rewatched the prom scene just before this. And like once you know, it's even more devastating because you're just like, this is just so sweet. And Carrie's having such an incredible time at prom, and she looks beautiful like an angel, and he's like gassing her up and being like, you can dance, you can do anything, like don't worry, like trying to like calm her down and get her out of her head, and he's actually doing a good job of it. And oh my god, it's just like, it's, you gotta watch this twice for all of the reveals and all the deepest sadness, because it's sad.
Yeah, because like I said, even though I knew all the main beats of the story, like I knew that Sue lived, and I knew that she was like sort of a friend to Carrie at the end, because I'd seen the other version, and I knew generally from a pop culture sense, and I knew that she's in Carrie 2, The Rage, or The Rage, Carrie 2, whatever it's called. And so I knew she like continued the storyline. But I, even watching this, when I started to doubt myself and be like, okay, what's going on? Is she this? Is she that? I was pretty convinced from the beginning when she was like, okay, I want my boyfriend to take Carrie to prom just so that Carrie can go to prom. I was like, okay, she's good. But then at that moment when she was like 8 o'clock, time to head out, I'm not telling anybody where I'm going, I was like, ruh-roh, that could be bad. Because in my head, there was that whole conversation when Mrs. Collins was like, why are you guys trying to get Tommy to take Carrie to prom? Why are you doing this? And that was what really made me not trust Tommy too, because she said something to them that was really, I thought, a little unnecessarily mean at first, where she was saying like, Tommy, don't you think you're going to look a little ridiculous when you walk into prom with Carrie White? And I was like, okay, rude. But then Tommy kept like giggling, and I was like, okay, so she's not being mean about Carrie. She just like correctly diagnosed that Tommy's a bitch. And so I didn't trust him from that point on. But Sue seemed like very trustworthy in her intentions until
I didn't think so.
She was showing up at to me.
Yeah.
But there's that whole line where she was like, if you don't have a date, you can't go to prom, which, like, first of all, is that how prom has ever worked? Because that blows.
It's fucking so fucked up.
That sucks.
Hetero
because you can't even go with your female friend and be like, we're besties or whatever, because no gays allowed, I assume.
76.
But yeah, so when it was like, you can't go if you don't have a date, I was like, oh, that's how Sue is going to survive what happens at prom later, because she's not allowed to be there. And then she did sneak over there, and I was like, okay, wait, now what's going on? And then when the teacher like sees her seeing the rope and like putting the pieces together, but the teacher thinks that she's jealous because of Tommy after all. And that's how she gets like shoved out of the room. I was like, that actually is so perfect, because it is heartbreaking that Sue sees what's going on and is trying to intervene, but also Mrs. Collins thinks she sees what's going on and is trying to intervene, and they're both just like trying to protect nice in their own way. Yeah,
but they can't.
But
the coach already has Sue, I guess. The coach already has her preconceptions, as she should. You know, I would be I was super suspicious of that whole situation. Like, that's a huge turnaround. I guess she doesn't believe that like the really good talking to that she gave them would actually change any of their minds. Which, like, after seeing them do something so fucking heinous, I wouldn't believe that they could redeem themselves either. That's why I'm not a teacher.
Yeah. And I went back to the beginning, and Sue is like really one of the aggressors in the beginning.
Yeah,
like, she's the one really moving forward at first. She's the one that like opens the dispenser so that they can get the full supply.
Totally. Well, okay, before we get into the whole pig's blood of it all, let's talk about Carrie's telekinesis stuff before that point, because I really like the way that they like reveal her powers. Something about me is that telekinesis is the thing I would choose 100%. If I could choose a power to have, because you could do so much shit with that. And the reason that I know that is because I watched oh my god, am I gonna forget it? Teen Titans, and there is a character that had telekinesis or something like that, or she might have been able to move rocks or whatever. I think it was telekinesis. Tara.
Yeah, it was like
rocks.
An earth-based Tara. Earth.
But with telekinesis, I was thinking about it in that concept, because she picks up a piece of ground and she flies around with it. And so I was like, if you have telekinesis, you could do that. You could just like pick up something that you're standing on and fly yourself around. So now you got flight. That's the only other one that I'm really considering. I don't want to be invisible. So that's the one. So like imagine all the things that happen when you start your period. Cramps, zits, boobs,
Hormones.
whatever. And then telekinesis on top of that.
Then
Like,
telekinesis.
but like that'd be kind of cool.
Here's the thing. I think all women should get telekinetic powers as soon as they get their periods. Women deserve
sounds
that.
Exactly. Yeah.
we're gonna have to deal with like ruining all of our white pants once a month. I mean, just don't wear white pants that time. But sometimes
Does
you don't
the
know when it's coming.
I've done that before. I was out with my boyfriend and both of his parents and just bled through my pants.
It's very Emma on Degrassi, baby.
I've done the
Incredible.
same thing, except I was wearing a white skirt and I was at an Italian
That's
restaurant.
Emma on Degrassi.
I was at an Italian restaurant wearing a white skirt. I went to the bathroom, realized what had happened. No one had noticed. So I flipped my skirt around and I blotted it and I told everyone a meatball fell on me. And everyone believed it. It's the smartest thing I've ever done. It's the smartest thing I've ever done. And I will never top it. Anyway,
Incredible.
moving on. But like, I love that how smart Carrie is because like,
Wait,
yeah,
sorry. I have a telekinesis question.
Yes.
If you get it when you get your period, does it go away when you go through menopause? What are just a quick way in?
Ooh.
Is it like definitely period connected or is it just like coming of age?
I want it to just be coming of age because I don't like that it will go away. Because especially in your old age, that's when you're gonna need it the most.
Yeah.
Like, oh, my back
That's a really
hurts.
good
I
point.
don't want to go get the coffee. Now I have the coffee
Well,
in my
we're
hand.
deciding. Yeah, we're deciding.
We're
I think we
deciding.
should get to keep it.
We get to make the rules here.
If-
Stephen
if
King,
we have
don't
our
weigh
say,
in
and we
unless
do.
you're
Yeah.
agreeing with us.
He is not the authority on periods here unless he also wants to come on and tell his first period story.
Open invitation.
Open
That's
invitation.
a
I
challenge.
mean, please.
Stephen King,
Please.
come on our podcast and talk about your period. Anyway,
Mhm. Sorry, what were you saying?
I just love that like Carrie's like, okay, I've been so embarrassed that I don't know about shit. And because like my mom is not going to be the one to teach me about shit because we haven't talked about her at all, but her mom is like
The worst.
the worst, abusive, like zealous, religious, nutty woman. And you know, not even teaching her daughter that a period is a thing. So she's like been really in the dark. So she starts getting these
And
powers.
then coming home and being like, you're only getting your period because you're a sinner. And if you were a good enough girl, you would never have gotten your period. Huh?
Horrible.
Apparently, all the Bible verses in this movie are completely made up, by the way, which I was glad to see on IMDb trivia because I was like, is there really something about the blood curse in the Bible?
I feel like we would hear about that more. You know,
Yeah,
I feel like we'd
definitely-
see signs on the side of the road when there's that
Mhm.
person holding up a scary, like the end is near, and be like,
Yeah,
women
yeah.
have the blood curse.
I mean, there is like weird period shit in the Bible, but it like makes sense for the time because like you're free bleeding to some degree. They didn't have tampons the way that we have tampons. They didn't have menstrual cups. You know what I mean?
No, they did not have
Shouts
menstrual
to
cups.
menstrual cups.
We do love a good Mency cup.
Important. We love it a brief.
It's a Mency cup. It's perfect. I was gonna say something. Thoughts.
The mom is abusive and
and
she
then-
sucks and is bad.
Let's just talk for a second. Let's talk about what we're all thinking. That Jesus looks weird. That is a creepy looking
Oh.
fucking Jesus.
That is, Jesus has LED lights. I didn't know LED
It's
his
not
eyeballs
Jesus.
were a thing in the 70s.
It's Saint Sebastian, apparently.
It's not
Which I did
Jesus?
not remember. No, he's Saint Sebastian. Just a different person. His name is Saint Sebastian.
That wasn't
and-
Jesus on the cross in the
It's-
closet.
Saint Sebastian with the arrows. Jesus didn't get shot with arrows.
Oh, I didn't even see the arrows.
Yeah, I didn't really notice the arrows at first because it's so such an obvious connection to go, oh, yep, that's Jesus. He's got the same haircut as the mom. And then at the end, you realize that parallels actually don't stop there, because after you see the mom's death, when she's like bringing her mom's body into her scary prayer closet so that they can be collapsed upon together, I guess. Then you see Saint Sebastian again, the little statue, and you realize the mom was like actually pinned in exactly the same way with like the same like knives placement in her body, which is
oh my god, I didn't notice that. That's
it's like
so cool.
an incredible iconic detail. I love it so much. I don't
love
really know much about Saint
that.
Sebastian other than there's somebody on Tumblr who does like fun bread creations for Christians. I don't know. They did a Saint Sebastian one time. That's all I've
never
got
heard
for
of
you.
him, but that's cool. But yeah, I just love that Carrie, when faced with something else that's happening to her body that she can't explain, she's like, well, I'm not going to that bitch again, because you see what happened last time. I'm going to the goddamn library. And she just goes to like the spooky section of the library, best place to be, and is reading all this shit. And then she's like, self-diagnosed WebMD, I have telekinesis. And she's a smart bitch, and she starts using it right away. I love that fucking kid on the bike is like zooming around her. And it's like
Creepy
Carrie. That's what she's saying. And she's
That kid
just like,
deserved to
eat
get
shit,
yeeted.
bitch, immediately.
He got what he got.
He 100% deserved that. But yeah, she immediately learns to go it on her own, and she immediately like she does start taking pride in her powers when she like talks to her mom about it. She's just like, hey mom, I have telekinesis. She's not like, I have powers. She's like, I know the word, I looked it up in a book. I have telekinesis, and you better cut your shit.
And that's a real book, by the way, and that's the real definition of telekinesis in that book. So you can go out there and you can absolutely read it and explore that thing. But yeah, I think it's I love that when they do, obviously we know I love a spooky Google. And then one time when we were posting about spooky Googles on social, somebody was like, isn't going to the library and looking at the microfiche the old school? And I was like, that's so true, bestie. And so now I love a spooky library search as well.
That's the blueprint. But like the scene right before Carrie ends up going to prom, I love that she like takes charge against her bitch ass mom. Sorry, like this makes it sound like I had a weird relationship with my mom. I love my mom. She was perfect. She was amazing. But this mom fucking sucks. She's just like, sit your ass on the couch. Don't fucking get up until I'm gone. And
sit down.
It was epic.
But then Carrie was like, no, mom, you sit down.
Honestly, and it is amazing. It is kind of funny because her mom comes in and is like, I knew it would be red. And apparently that line is in there because in the book she's wearing a red velvet dress. And then they just decided to keep the line and have Sissy Spacek respond like, it's pink.
It's not even close to red, mom.
It's just pink. Which is very cute. And she's right, it is pink, and we love that for her. What a queen. But apparently the actress Piper Laurie, who played the mom, she wasn't sure about taking this role at first, and then I think IMDb trivia said her husband was like, well, consider Brian De Palma's other works, like they're usually pretty funny, and then she like reread it with the idea that it was a Black comedy and was like, oh, okay, I get it now, I'm on board. She takes the part, she comes on set, she's like, this is a Black comedy, and Brian De Palma is like, it's literally not
at all.
It's not. Please stop. But she was just like cracking up in between scenes after all of her lines, because she was like, they're so over the top. Like, how are you telling me that this is not a Black comedy? But whatever energy she was bringing, it worked, because not only did she get nominated for an Oscar for the role and a Golden Globe, but also just like it was iconic. We watched it for ourselves. Like, it was amazing. She's killing it.
A great job.
She sets up all the candles. Obviously that wasn't really her as the actress, but it fed into the energy, her chopping the carrot and then just chopping in general.
That was
Amazing.
nuts. That's how you knew that some shit was going to go down. But I like, for me, as someone who apparently had seen this before, but no, I had not. Like, I was like, it ends with the prom scene. Like, I was not expecting any of that after shit. So it's like you're already like, holy shit. And then you're like, oh my God. But let's get into the prom scene where shit starts to go down because that is just such an incredible thing. So obviously Carrie wins prom queen with Tommy. And everyone, because it's been rigged by Norma and
Freddie.
Miscellaneous henchmen.
They're both gay. They're both little gay villains, and I love that for them. And I love their totally awkward, horrible ruse of a straight, quote unquote, straight kiss. I don't buy it for 1 second from either of you.
Fucking hilarious. They're
like, oh, let me just, I'm so in the throes of passion of this kiss that oopsie, I dropped all of the ballots. And now I'm just like tucking them away with my foot so I can reach into Freddie's jacket and pull out all the phonies.
They really thought this shit all through.
Which was good though. I was glad to see that because I was very, very concerned that Chris had gotten everyone in on the prank and had just gotten everybody to vote for Tommy and Carrie so that they could do something. And I was very scared that was the case.
That would have been.
And I was glad at least to see that it was not that, even though a bunch of those people did go on to die.
Well, yeah, that's something that I want to talk about too, because like, okay, what we already talked about the immediate lead up to the moment where the blood bucket is pulled, where Sue tries to stop it, and the teacher, the coach, Mrs. Collins grabs her and pulls her away and throws her outside. Just in time for fucking Chris to pull the trigger. And in that moment where Chris pulls the trigger and pulls the rope and the blood falls all over Carrie, like the way that they did the sound design for that was so brilliant because like all the rest of the sound goes away. Before that, there's been this like building like string music, right? This like, and it's like very sentimental, and she's like beaming and smiling and glowing, and Tommy's looking at her and everyone's looking at her and they're all thinking that she's amazing. And it all seems so genuine.
They're clapping for 5 full minutes.
Yeah. And then
they're clapping for so long.
Seriously, for so long. They're just building that moment for so long. And then the shoe drops, the blood drops, and then the music is gone. And you just hear the sounds of the blood dripping and the bucket going like shaking from side to side. And just those like visceral sounds for a really long time too, and it just, oh man, it makes it so much more horrifying. Like that was such a perfect choice. And just like the way it all plays out, like fucking bitch ass Norma is immediately laughing, but no one else is. Everybody else is horrified. They're like all shocked. And then the bucket falls and it hits Tommy and fucking does it kill him? It knocks him out.
I think I read somewhere that like in the books it does, like that's where Tommy dies, like it but in the movie I think it's ambiguous.
Yeah, it could go either way because he was knocked out, but like it seems like everyone pretty much dies in the fire for the most part. But I think the question that I had watching it is that so Tommy gets his big bonk of death. And then it looks like those boys start laughing in the back maybe, but then in Carrie's mind's eye, she like sees Norma getting those people who had been nice to her, that couple, to laugh, and then everyone's hysterically laughing. But like, I think that's in Carrie's head, right? Because I don't think that the coach
Mrs. Collins for sure wasn't.
She would be, Mrs. Collins would never be laughing. So it's like in Carrie's mind, she sees everyone turning against her, but that's not the case. Like everyone was horrified. And that's what makes it even more sad because she's hearing the voice of her mother who had been like, everyone's going to laugh at you. Everyone's going to laugh at you, repeating over and over and over again. And the laugh
and then she hears the plug it up
part
too.
Is so good.
And like, we're all sorry, Cassie. Like, ugh. And then she hears the coach's voice being like, trust me, Carrie. And she's just like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And like, I get it. But also, Norma, if you had just 1 ounce of chill this could have turned out differently.
Yeah, Norma, fuck you. Honest to God, love you that you're gay, but fuck you because you're heartless. Like, oh man, but like just the sound design and like the visual aspects of the whole thing. Like as soon as like she starts turning on her telekinesis and going wild on him, like everything turns red, and there's just like this like I don't know if it's a synth sound, but like this note that's like like kind of I don't know in the background the whole time, like no music, just that like incessant sound, which is like very unsettling. And I love that she's just like, I'm gonna waterboard these bitches. I'm gonna
hose them down.
I'm gonna hose them to death. Does she hose Norma to death? Does she drown Norma with the hose?
I'm not sure if Nora dies at that point, but I know the actress PJ Souls burst her eardrum because she really got hosed in the head/face. And it took her like 6 months to be able to hear out of that ear again.
Oh my God.
Holy fuck. That's terrible.
Yeah, I mean,
that shit would hurt. That's a high-powered hose.
Yeah, we started our Zoom before we started recording the episode, and we were just hanging out a little while I was finishing up reading my IMDb trivia, and I was having some big reactions to some of them. And one of them was that PJ Souls burst her eardrum, and one of them was that the PE teacher didn't know that she was going to die at first because the character lives in the books. And so she was surprised to discover upon, I think, right about filming this scene that actually she does not get to survive. She's going to die in the gym. And they didn't have time to like test out that equipment falling stunt that like bisects the teacher in the movie.
Yeah.
So they just were like, we're just gonna, cameras rolling, we're just gonna give it a shot. And
so she actually died.
Yeah, she actually dies. No, but her IMDb trivia was like, her look of fear was genuine.
I hate that part of trivia. Their fear was genuine. I'm like, what? Do you know that for sure? Random man on the
Probably was from some interview somewhere. Because apparently the shot with Norma getting blasted in the face, that was the shot that burst her eardrums, and they kept it in. Says IMDb. So again, how reliable, but
I believe it.
I believe it.
Personally,
it was the 70s. I fully believe it.
I fully believe it.
A different time. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I love that she electrocutes the principal and that other fucker, because fuck them both, and that's a fun way to kill someone. We love a little electricity play. And I mean, the rest of it is just everyone burns in the fire, which is so sad.
Or smoke inhalation, maybe.
Or smoke inhalation. Because at the end, I think everyone dies, right?
They say in The Rage, Carrie 2 or whatever it is, they say in the sequel that maybe like 22. Oh, in this sequel, they say 73 people died. And so I don't know how many people made it out, but a few who quote unquote refused to talk about the incident afterwards. So more than just Sue, but in the book, 11 people are confirmed to have escaped from the prom. So still a small number. Not everybody's completely trapped, but they're pretty trapped.
Yeah, that's so fucked. I do really love the immediate aftermath of this prom scene, where Chris in her like full Joker, like as much she's watching through the window, but like just watching through the window, you're just gonna go from 0 to Carrie has telekinetic powers, and she's the one who's making all this shit happen, and she started a fire, and she electrocuted everyone, and she is flying everyone around and exploding things like that's like it's 1976. Like, are we believe that's what Chris is believing right away? Because she gets in her car, or she gets into John Travolta's car, and she's gonna mow Carrie the fuck down.
Right.
Like, she's gonna commit not vehicular manslaughter. If you're mowing them down, then it's then you're killing. Then it's
Vehicular
murder.
Yeah.
Murder.
Murder.
But like, does she really look in there and she's like, it's not like Carrie's like, pachow with her hands and she's like, with the power of telekinesis, the hose or something. She's just like, not, she's just looking with that look that she's got. Sissy Spacek, did she win the Oscar for that look? She just makes the same face for like 25 minutes straight. And that's skill.
Whole whites. Okay, Sissy Spacek, that bitch was committed, because one of the other things on IMDb trivia that made my jaw drop is the piece of trivia that says, and I will read it for you. While filming the bloody prom sequence, Sissy Spacek's trailer was parked behind the set. After being covered in fake blood, for continuity purposes, Spacek refused to wash the effect off. She elected instead to sleep in her bloody clothes for 3 days of filming. Huh? Baby, you don't have to do that. You know that, right?
Okay,
I
girl.
love that.
She said, no, I want to. This bitch also at the end, when the hand shoots out, and I want to talk about that more later, that is Sissy Spacek's hand. She was like, yeah, literally bury me
Put
alive
me in the ground.
because I want to do that scene myself. And Brian De Palma was like, no, we're going to have a stunt person do it. And she was like, no, you're not. I'm getting in the ground.
And that's not my
eventually
hand.
he was like, yes. Eventually he was like, okay, I'll let your husband bury you. I'm not going to do it. But if you insist, you guys go ahead. You can make this happen. This one's for the girlies, but I am hands off.
Sissy Spacek, queen of continuity, like that. Queen of commitment, queen of continuity. She's not gonna see anything in the flubs or what is it, goofs section of the movie. None of those goofs are gonna be on her behalf.
Yeah, you can see the mole in the hand that shows it is actually Polly's hand from May 2002.
Little time travel action.
Closely. She was like, I will not allow this. It's my hand. I'm buried alive.
I will say, I cheered out loud when Chris blew up.
They did.
I was like, if anyone deserves to blow up.
Okay, but here's the thing. Also, like, they put that pig's blood in like days ahead of time. Like, it would have smelled. There would have been flies. Like, people would have noticed that.
Would it have been like coagulated or something?
Ew.
Yeah, like
would have been a big jelly.
I mean, maybe it kind of was a little bit though. Apparently, it kept like drying out and getting gooey on set. They had to keep just like hosing Sissy Spacek down.
Yeah, she gets wetter as the killing progresses. She's like,
it's because they were spraying her with water apparently to keep that blood liquid. But that is part of the movie that's horrifying that I didn't really consider until watching it this time around. I was always like, yeah, Carrie gets doused in pig blood. That sucks. That would be gross. I didn't really consider the implications that we see for ourselves to a degree in this film, which is Chris and John Travolta and Freddie and some other dude going to a pig farm to commit animal abuse.
Right.
They commit a murder. He axes the shit out of that pig.
It never occurred to me before that they were going and murdering pigs. I was always just like, they got it at the market. I don't know what I thought.
I thought they had some sort of butcher plug, you know?
Right? No, they're out here just murdering pigs as well. So
yeah,
clearly they are not above murder. I guess we shouldn't be surprised at the end when Chris is like, I'm going to run her over.
Yeah.
I will say, I love all the like subtle and not so subtle psycho references in this movie. One, the not so subtle is the music that they use is like very psycho, but like the high school.
It's literally the same.
Yeah, like it's
notes.
That exact same thing, but also like the name of the high school is like Bates High School or something like that. Like I was like, okay, I love the like very subtle psycho references.
And the pig farm is like Bates Packaging or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't notice any of that. I didn't notice any of
Not
that.
that I noticed
mean,
it either.
so
but
there, I did notice the music part, like whenever she like does
her telekinesis
a
sound,
telekinesis thing, it's like "Rah!" Yeah, like okay, yeah,
yeah, it's like the
fair.
shower stab sound.
Totally, yeah, that I got, but all the rest of it absolutely did not.
Okay, so one thing I do want to talk about before we move on to our segments is the bit at the end with the mom, because the mom's like the way she reveals, like sprinkles in little details is so good. Because I also started to be like, Avi the mom is gay, not to make all the villains gay, but also I love a villain. But I was like, the mom is gay, maybe the dad is gay. That's why they had one baby and then they immediately split, and why she's like so committed to her Christian ideology and like repentance or whatever. But it turns out, no, she's full straight. And the problem is that she liked having straight sex with her boyfriend too much, actually. Because she has that whole scene where she reveals like, okay, actually, I want to read the monologue maybe, because like literally every bit of it is iconic.
Act it out for us, babe.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Sydney first. You looked like you wanted to butt in and say something. I just wanted to give the opportunity.
Oh, I want it like read, because I want like a clarification of like, was it sinful because she liked having sex, or did her husband rape her? Basically, like,
no, she liked it. She
that
says.
was something like it kind of alluded like could have been.
Yeah,
it was the pleasure in it that was the sin.
That's the sin. If she felt bad, then at least it would have been like, I knew it was bad. But instead, it's like sin feels so good, which is why I have to spend my whole life actually trying to undo this and like pushing it out of my daughter and like squeezing her so small so that there's no room in her body for sin. But this is the whole quote. She says, I should have killed myself when he put it in me. After the first time, before we were married, that's where the sin comes in. After the first time, before we were married, Ralph promised never again. He promised, and I believed him. But sin never dies. Sin never dies. At first, it was all right. We lived sinlessly. We slept in the same bed, but we never did it. And then that night, I saw him looking down at me that way. We got down on our knees to pray for strength. I smelt the whiskey on his breath, and he took me. He took me with the stink of the filthy roadhouse whiskey on his breath, and I liked it. I liked it, with all that dirty touching of his hands all over me. I should have given you to God when you were born, but I was weak and backsliding, and now the devil has come home. We'll pray. And to me, like, not only is that like was such a well-delivered monologue, but it also made everything like click into place and make sense. You know what I mean?
All makes sense. Like, why is this bitch like this? That's why this bitch is like this.
It's because it's not just that she's like trying to stamp the sin out of Carrie because she thinks that sin is wrong. It's that any sin in Carrie is like, oh, this is my fault because I sinned first when we made a baby. Because I don't know if she does wear a wedding ring, but I don't know if they were ever actually married before he left with some other lady, is what Carrie said. I don't know if it was just because maybe Carrie was just like conceived before they got married. Maybe they just were fucking before they got married, and that's where the sin came in. But yeah, I think that whole moment really makes it clear that it was like, it's her original sin, if you will. And that's why she's so determined to make Carrie good and what she sees as good, and use like any means necessary to do so, because she's also trying to like make up for her own sin. It's her penance, basically, is to stamp this sin out of Carrie, is how she can make herself sinless again.
Yeah,
because
I think she kind of just
and then
sees Carrie. Yeah, she just sees Carrie as a sin. She's like, she's like a human personification of sin in her mind, which is just so fucked up. I love the scene.
And her mom makes the sign of the cross with her knife.
Oh yeah,
that's so fucked up.
Yeah, that was like fucked but amazing. And I love that like she's just like hiding in her white nightgown behind the door.
That was so creepy.
That's so creepy, because I was when Carrie like walked right by her, I was like, how did Carrie not see her? But also I did not see her for a very long moment until
There's like
I
a
did.
little mannequin thing right next to her too. So she probably just thought it was that. Yeah.
It's so
Ugh.
well done. So spooky.
Oh, this is a little side note, but another reason that Carrie probably went full telekinesis killer on him is because she made that dress.
She made
And they got
that.
Oh,
blood
yeah.
all over it.
How
Now
dare
it's
you
red.
little bitches.
Yeah, maybe it was a psychic vision from the mom when she said, "I see the dress is red."
They
She
both
was
have a gift.
Oh.
could be a thing. But okay, we talked about the stabby. I mean, she stabs Carrie. Carrie falls down the stairs. It's super fucked up. And then Carrie stabs her 20 different ways, just like Mr. Sebastian. Saint Sebastian. Is that his name? Sebastian?
Yeah. Good job.
Okay, good. I was like, did I say the wrong S name? Am I just thinking
You
about
killed
Sebastian Stan right now? Because I am a
Maybe.
lot of the time these days.
Sure.
But anyway, the ending of this movie made me really mad. Not like the end with the arm.
The
I
house
loved the
end?
end with the arm. The house end really pissed me off, and I don't
What's
know if
going on there?
IMDb gave you any info on this. I didn't get to do as much research as I want to, but this read to me as the classic Stephen King thing that I've noticed in what I've read of him so far and in the movies I've seen. I still love him. I think he is a genius, but there's this thing that he does where he's like, this is a really great story. It's going great and it's building and it's getting cooler. And then I'm going to fucking ruin it in the last second by just like not sticking the fucking landing. Like this whole thing is like about Carrie. Like she has this power and it's an innately feminine power, her telekinesis, because it comes when she has her period, so it's tied to her womanhood or whatever.
I'm not sure if she hasn't been like brewing it for a while because she seemed to be somewhat in control of it, but I also choose to believe that her control comes from
Yeah, either
her
way,
evolution or
I
whatever,
think
maturation.
her being able to use it, it comes from it happens like right after she starts her
Mm-hmm.
period. So like that's how it's shown, that's how it's presented to
It's
us. And so
linked.
she has this like feminine woman power, whatever, that she's using good or for bad, whatever. Some of those people I'm like, kill 'em, bitch, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But then like it turns into a devil thing. Is that what that is? Because their house literally gets sucked down into the depths of hell or whatever, so it seems. Like that's how I read it, as like, oh, it was the devil taking them in the end. And I was just like, I mean, there's no confirmation of that, but what the fuck
Mm-hmm.
else could it be? It's not like Carrie's bringing the house down.
Well, that's what I maybe thought at first. I was like, is Carrie bringing the house down to perish with her mom because of her grief? Are her powers out of control because she is in shock and grieving and she's unintentionally bringing it down? But apparently, originally in the script, do you know those like lava stones that you see at the end in
Yeah.
the like plot? Apparently, it was going to be like raining stones on them, and there was going to be like an earlier smaller raining stone scenes in the beginning of the movie, when she was like younger, but for whatever reason it like they couldn't pull it off on set filming, so they just cut it and the house just like collapses on its own.
I was watching something and I thought it was for
Mm-hmm.
this Carrie, but I think it was for the 2013 Carrie. And I think they
Okay.
get into like Carrie's childhood more and stuff like that
I'm
in
sure
the
that's it.
new one. Also,
I'm sure the book covers all of that, because if we know Stephen King, we know his books are 5 million pages long and they have an insane amount of detail, which I love. Don't get me wrong.
but my guess would be that as Carrie's dying and like her mom is clearly like already dead, like she's murdered her mom's killed her, that she collapses the house, with them. So like if they're gonna go out, they're gonna do it together.
I like it if it's intentional like that, but I really didn't read it like that at the time. But I can see that. I can see that read for sure. But it seemed like Carrie was scared and it was against her will. And she seemed like she was very much like still alive, not like totally dying yet, because she was able to like pull her mom like from the wall with these knives keeping her in there.
First
And
of
was
all,
trying to protect them, I thought, by putting them in the closet. Because, like, I don't know, earthquakes,
that
door
makes sense
jams.
too. Also, if they're going into the Jesus closet amidst an act of the devil or whatever, bringing that whatever too. Down upon them. But I just want to note really quickly, and I don't know why this was there, and I think I'm glad it was, but also again, why? When she yanks one of her mom's hands off the wall so that she can drag her away, there's a really weird like thunk, like sound effect that is almost comical in effect. Why was that there? What was that about?
Just to scratch your brain a little bit. I don't know. I didn't notice that.
I'll find the moment and send it to you, because I was like,
thump.
Literally, why? Yeah, I went back to be like, is that real? But I also just read the end of the book on the Wikipedia page for the Stephen King novel, and it's different. So no insight there when it comes to the house collapse.
Oh, okay. Well, then I will not. I'm sorry.
Blame him for that.
By
He does like a whole other
the
thing.
Landing. Because
and also,
you did. I'm not the one to know.
Sure. It does clarify in the book though, that the whole thing with the mom and the dad and the origin story is marital rape. So that was a different Brian De Palma tweak. There's definitely some changes that he made for this movie, most notably the way that it ends and the way that Carrie dies, and also the way that Chris and what's his name? Billy. John Travolta. His name is Billy. The way that they die is a little bit different in the book as well, or at least the timing, the manner of it is like essentially the same, I think. But Stephen King really, really likes all of the changes that they made. This is his favorite version. He doesn't like any of the other versions of Carrie that have been made as movies. He said he likes this better than what he wrote in his book. So, I mean, pretty good author endorsement. Yeah.
That's great. Good for
But yeah, I don't know why
all
the house
involved
collapses.
I don't know.
Because the raining stones thing also doesn't really make sense to me either.
I have some bones to pick with this writer director. But okay, let's get into our segments here, because
segmentos.
It's time. It's time, baby. I'm ignoring Sydney. Yeah, moving on.
How could this movie be gayer? I mean, we already get 2 gay villains. That's pretty gay.
The gym teacher, classic lesbian gym teacher propaganda. She said that she played her gym teacher character as a lesbian.
Yes.
And I got some of those vibes. So, you know, that's nice. I also was really hoping, and we didn't get it, but she likes Tommy's poem so much. She says it's beautiful. He says the reason he's taking her to prom is because she liked his poem, but then he reveals he didn't write it. I was waiting for a reveal that Sue was the one who wrote the beautiful poem that Carrie liked, so that I could make that gay, but no such luck, unfortunately. And I would love to have Carrie be a bisexual queen, but also if she's straight, I accept her because I'm an ally.
I'm so glad that you're an ally towards straight people.
They need that. The cause is so important.
They need that.
I'm not.
Oh my God.
No new straight people in my life, please. Like,
you've met your quota. Yeah.
All
you
of my
filled up the list.
All of my straights have been grandfathered in from like childhood. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I didn't expect this movie to have a canonically gay character, but like with the hat, my first notes were like, is it stereotypical for me to immediately assume that Norma is gay because she's wearing overalls? But then I was like, no, it's not the overalls. It's the literal gay flag hat. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's very gay. It's incredibly gay.
Overt. It's overt.
Okay.
Where would Matthew Lillard fit into this movie?
I want him to be Tommy.
Oh, kind of a dick for a little bit, but ultimately heart of gold. I feel like he would do a really nice job in that role.
Like curly hair wig.
I want to see him.
Just let him have his own normal hair. No. We don't all need to get a 70s perm.
To have a curly hair wig.
And I desperately want to see him in the powder blue ruffle tux.
Oh,
Yes.
that would be so
with
fun.
a heart of gold.
I did love the boys at the tuxedo shop scene where they're trying on to. I thought that was a fun little moment.
That was a
The
great
part
moment.
where they fast forward the movie in the
suddenly
movie.
all of a sudden, me, Alvin and the Chipmunks.
That was hilarious. I was like, what's happening right now? A
They
lot
just
of
had
fun
fun in the
like,
editing team. They're throwing in sound effects. They're speeding up. They're slowing down.
yeah, I mean, like the split screen in the like chaos scene, like that was an interesting choice too. I mean, there was a
Apparently,
lot
they
to
were going
take
to do
in.
a lot more of that, and then they were like, "It's not working. Let's dial it back."
Good. Yeah. Because it was already a lot for just that. I like didn't know what to look at, but I mean, there was a lot to see, so you got to show as many POVs as possible. The dumb bitch. It's not a tie, but I want to sub-nominate Norma because I'm mad at her. But number one has got to be Chris.
Yeah, Chris and Billy.
Yeah, it's her idea, so it's hard to
Billy's
blame
just a henchman.
Billy more. You know what I mean? He's just her little bitch.
I don't know.
He
He did
likes
a
to
lot
think
of slapping. So
he did do a lot of slapping.
Oh my god!
And that's why he likes to
the
think that
fuck with
she's
that?
hurt. Apparently, they did a screening of this movie for the 40th anniversary, and the girl who plays Chris was there, and PJ Souls was there. A bunch of them were there. And the girl who plays Chris, Nancy Allen, was like, "What is up with all of the slapping?" Like she herself was like, "That is a lot of slapping that's happening."
It's a lot
But
of
she
slapping.
clarified that all of the John Travolta slaps were just pretend slapping. But the slaps with Betty Buckley, the gym teacher, those were real. And per IMDb trivia, Brian De Palma made Betty Buckley slap her like 30 times until he got the shot that he wanted. So
I mean, she did look very shocked.
she's like, again? Another take? That's why she was upset.
Her face would be like raw and red. Shouts out to the makeup crew who put concealer over that shit every time. Damn.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's Chris over Billy only because she's the mastermind.
Fucked up.
I was gonna say they are a pair. Like they
deserve each other for sure.
Like they both get to be dumb bitch. Because
well,
Billy
Billy
had
what does she call him?
Billy just wants to drink Pabst Blue Ribbon while driving next to a cop, and then when
but we all do some roadies. We all do roadies.
We don't all do roadies.
We all do roadies. It's fine.
Oh my god, no.
We can't get away with that shit in LA. But he literally, like, what an idiot that he throws the can. So then if he does get pulled over, the whole car reeks of beer. So yeah, okay, actually, because of that shit and all the slapping, he's dumb bitch as well.
He is dumber, actually. You're convincing me. He is dumber. She's bitcher, but he's dumber.
That was the 70s.
She's bitch, he's dumb.
And fun fact, when I lived in Tennessee, open container like wasn't a thing. Like as long as the driver isn't holding a beer, like everybody else in the car can be drinking anytime.
That I support. But the driver drinking while driving actively, less so.
Roadies.
Okay, yeah, I agree with Chelsea. Billy is dumb.
And Billy
Chris
kills
is
the
bitch.
pig.
Billy is dumb and Chris is bitch. And together they are dumb bitch.
They are a pair.
To die together.
Together, their powers combine. Yeah. What's the Captain Planet? Yeah.
No, not that. I'm thinking of the gay siblings from Pokemon.
They are for sure not gay siblings, but I love that for them. Team Rocket?
Team Rocket. They're siblings.
Jesse and James?
Aren't they siblings?
I'm pretty sure they're a couple.
I thought they were siblings. They're gay. It's fine.
They are gay, but also they are a couple, I believe. Ask Danny because he's the expert.
I'm going to ask Google, but anyway, let's move on to our knives out of 5. What did people think of this movie?
People liked it a lot. It got pretty good reviews overall. Like I said, Piper Laurie Laurie was nominated for an Oscar for Best Actress in a Supporting Role. Sissy Spacek was also nominated for an Oscar for Best Actress in a Lead Role. Piper Laurie was nominated for a Golden Globe. But on IMDb, it has a 7.4 out of 10. And on Rotten Tomatoes, it has 93% fresh from critics and 77% fresh from audiences. So you do get a little, it was like very critically acclaimed. It did really, really well at the box office. I think they made like $30 million more than they had like a maybe $2 million budget, and they made like 33 million or something like that. So it was like really big for the time. But I don't know. I guess there are some people out there who are not quite vibing with it on Oscars level, apparently. But I personally think it's pretty gorgeous filmmaking wise. There's like a lot of really cool shots and stuff.
They used to nom horror films. Seems like they used to nom horror films.
Now they're haters.
Fucked up. Yeah, I mean, I think filmmaking wise, this was brilliant. I think it's a work of art.
The only thing I would change maybe is the like weird spinny shot at the prom. Although I do feel like it did do some good like horror setup where you're like, now I'm nauseous, I'm anxious as hell, I'm worried that things are about to hit the fan any moment, but then it just like fizzled in the next scene when they like cut away, and it was just like a normal thing, and I was left being like, was that supposed to be romantic? Yeah, and it's like spinning so aggressively because they put the actors
that was romantic
on a platform that was spinning in the opposite direction of the way the camera was moving. It was just going way too fast for me, and I was like, I am gonna have a headache.
Oh, for me, I just thought it was like, I thought it was like cute because it's like shows like they're how caught up they are in the moment, you know, and they're like that, like I saw it as that, like that they're in this like they're just seeing
the world moving around them.
Yeah, that exactly that. That's how that
I'll
read
stop
to me.
the world and melt with you.
Exactly.
When are we gonna do Sky High? That's an important movie with a dance
that's gonna be
at the end that goes wrong.
I do love that movie though.
A clear reference to Carrie, perhaps. Telekinesis. I'm sure someone's got it.
Yeah, seriously. Actually, that's
a movie about people with powers at a dance that doesn't go as planned.
A Fifth Tuesday.
It's coming up. It's coming up.
Put it on there.
Don't hold your breath, because like
one of the only movies I bought on iTunes. Yeah, we've got the next few Fifth Tuesdays planned out. So it's gonna have to wait, but that's okay.
But okay, for this movie though, like for me, I was blown away by it. You know, when you have a movie that is so like ubiquitous, like this one, like everyone knows about Carrie. Everyone knows what happens in Carrie. I like had written it off pretty much. Not that I thought that it was going to be bad, but I just was like, I know what happens. What's the surprise there? Whatever. It's really good. There's a reason everyone still talks about it to this day. It's a really interesting story. There's period blood. We got to talk about periods for half this episode. When do we get to do that? Hopefully never again. I told you all my period stories. I'm out of all of my stories.
I've got more. Don't worry.
But yeah, I mean the acting's great. I love all the characters, even though I hate half of them, but like I love to hate them. Like I had a really good time. This is 5 out of 5 knives for me. I love the 70s vibes. I loved all the costuming. I had a really, really fun time with this. And also it's less than an hour and 30 minutes. Oh no, wait, is it 139?
It's 139, which is fine.
I watched Palma yesterday and that was under 1 hour and 30 minutes. I got those confused. But anyway, 5 out of 5 knives for me. It's a classic.
I love this movie. I forgot. I knew like the plot, but I forgot a lot of the details of it. And so I was having like such a great time like rewatching it, and it holds up. It's so good. This is also a 5 out of 5 for me.
I had already put down the 5 for you because I could feel the vibes.
Listen, any movie with luscious 70s bush, immediate 5 out of 5 for me. Sorry.
It gets a boost for sure. Yeah, you've already got some good points in your name at that point.
You're like, I like the direction of this movie.
Yeah, it made me a little nervous to see all the bush in the beginning because they're supposed to be high schoolers. But they're all actors and they're all the same age as the gym teacher. And they filmed like a TV version where they all have like strategic towels that they're holding on to as they like move through the scene. But I also thought it like set up the beginning really well. So I actually think it slaps. And I'm glad that they went full nude right out the gate. But yeah, I think this movie is really wonderful overall. And I think there are a lot of really cool shots that they do. There's a lot of really good dialogue, the way that they like reveal the backstory, if you will, in that scene with the mom, I think is like so well. Like I understand absolutely from that scene alone why it was Oscar nom level. And like the parallels between the mom and the Saint Sebastian figure and like the way that those are like revealed. I don't know what the glowing eyes was about, but the way that that was revealed, I thought was like really well done. And even though I knew that she pops her hand out of the grave at the end, and even though I saw maybe a TikTok or a meme about being startled by that the other day where somebody didn't know and then they were scared, and even though I was like waiting for that moment, I still flinched. I still jumped when it came up because somehow it still like caught me by surprise. The way they do it is so good. And then also the way that they reveal that it's not real and that it was like this dream that she's being haunted by. Apparently those two characters, Sue and her mom, are played by a real life mom and daughter. And the daughter's freak out reaction was like so authentic and huge that the mom actress called her by her real name, Amy, instead of Sue, because she was like, oh no, like, are you okay? What's going on? And the only reason that you can't hear it is because like the music is loud enough at that point in the movie. But like, I just thought everybody brought their A game. Everybody was really giving this movie and their roles like the energy they deserved. And I think it's just got to be 5 knives out of 5.
One thing that I want to bring up that I thought was hysterical during like that point of the movie is that like the very end, Sue's mom is like on the phone talking to somebody and she's like, yeah, the doctor says that she's so young that she won't remember this traumatic thing. Like she's a senior in high school.
She's
like
8. She is not 4 years old.
Yeah.
Like she is gonna be ruined.
Forget when she's 96, baby. I mean, like,
she'll forget when she's dead.
Enough, God willing, she'll forget. But
yeah, seriously, that's so stupid.
That made me like laugh out loud. I was like, okay, 70s. No wonder everybody's like this.
No wonder. This is why they need some basic sex ed and also
seriously, because then Carrie would have known about the goddamn period. She didn't have to learn it from her mom. An ode to sex education. Well, that closes the book on Carrie. And don't you worry. I'm going to speak for the pod. We'll never cover any of the remakes.
Maybe. I mean, who knows?
I kind of want to watch the Chloe Grace Moretz one.
I'll watch the Chloe Grace Moretz one. I don't want to cover it.
Role. I cannot imagine her doing that in a way that I'm going to enjoy for the life of me. But
I'm going to hate watch it and it'll be a fun time.
I'll hate watch it with y'all, but I don't know if I want to do it. Maybe we'll do it as a Patreon episode when we start our Patreon.
Sure.
Eventually, it's going to happen.
Yeah,
anyway, okay.
We can do like a 15-minute bitch sesh or whatever.
So now we're moving on to next week's pick. Okay. So for next week's pick, I'm very excited about this one. It's a freshie. We just did Fresh last month. We're trying to get on that new movie grind. We're doing it. So we're covering Ty West 2022 Bop X. It is great. If you haven't seen it, it is now on demand. It's $20, but it's worth it. I'm going to tell you that it's worth it. Do we agree that it's worth the $20, ladies?
We're going to be spending the money.
I'm going to be spending the money. I've spent the $20 once before on a theater ticket. Monica and I went and saw it in theaters. I know Sydney saw it in theaters too.
I saw it in
was
theaters
a blast.
too.
It was a fun ride. I mean,
It was so
if you
fun.
haven't already seen it in theaters, it's the price of a theater ticket. You might as well. I say go for it.
Seriously, go for it. It's so much fun. I was laughing out loud hysterically. I was screaming at the top of my lungs. I accidentally pre-screamed at a part I thought was going to be scary and then wasn't, and had to apologize to the whole audience. Like, it was a full experience, and I cannot wait for us to cover it on the pod. It's going to be super, super fun. We just did VHS, which had a Ty West short in it, and so now we get a full feature length. And yeah, it's gonna be a wild ride. And Jen Ortega's in it. We love her.
Yay! And Brittany Snow from Prom Night.
And
oh my god,
Kid
it's like
Cudi.
And Kid Cudi.
Kid Cudi's dick.
Kid Cudi's dick.
Spoiler. Oh my god.
The people
Spoiler
should get a little
alert.
tease, a little taste.
There's some dick action. Also, just want to say that we're doing this at a very timely time, which is almost a year to date to when we did Prom Night last year. So it's a Britney Snow anniversary, and that's why we're doing it. It's not, but we're gonna say that anyway.
It's close enough.
So it's that time again to consider giving us a 5-star review. And this week
they can tell us their first period story.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. That is literally exactly what I was gonna say. Why not? Why not? Let's your first period story in a public review for all to see.
We told ours. Tell yours.
Yeah, we shared something about ourselves. Now you share. Now you share.
It's only right and it's only fair.
If someone does this, I would be very shocked. What is a tamer alternative?
They could say plug it up, and they can
Plug
do
it up.
chanting style, and maybe
Plug
they can
it
use
up.
fist emojis to show that they're banging their fists.
Okay, yeah, that's a great option for people who don't have periods and for people who are not in a place where they're currently ready to share their first period story.
Sure.
But if you
try
want to
it. It
DM
might
us
open up
your
some
first
things.
period story, we are open to that too. We want to
love
know. We want to know.
stories.
I just want to say that I love DMing with listeners. So please DM us. It's very fun to talk about movies with you. Anyway, moving on. Why if you want to DM us, you have to follow us on social media, silly. So at @spooky_Tuesday on Twitter and TikTok and Instagram, at Spooky Tuesday Pod on Facebook and Tumblr, and at Spooky Tuesday on Letterboxd. And we have a YouTube with one video, and it's a very sexy video, so you should go watch it. Shout out to our boy Christian Brune, the new face of Picari Sweat. And with that, we bid you adieu. Thank you for listening.
Bye, Spooky.
These are godless times, Mrs. Snell. I'll drink to that.
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Height, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamara Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at Captain Tamara, and our podcast art is by Mary Murphy, who you can find on Instagram at _the_moon_omg.